In this video, we will have a look at input and output. So input and output is about the Python program ability to take input, and based on the input it receives, it produces an output. There are two main functions we want to have a look at based on input and output, and these are input and print. We've been using print all along through the video series, and we're going to be using the print function, and we can pass parameters to the print function, which are values separated by commas, as functions can take parameters. But we can also accept input from the user using the input function, which is input, open parenthesis, and then followed by a closed parenthesis. This is how functions are written. Once the user inputs information, the function stores the information inside a variable and is able to print it out using the print function. And the output of an input function is of a string data type, but we can change the data type to an integer, float, or a boolean value. Let's take a look at some input examples. So here we use the input function, open parenthesis, and then we are going to type "what is your name?" followed by a closed parenthesis. Also another input, and we have created a second input so the user can specify their age. And we want to store these in a variable, so I will create a variable called name equal, and then input followed by the question. And we will do the same for age as well. We'll store it in a variable called age. And finally, we want to print out the output to the console. And then on the third line, we will print out the name and the age. Let's run the file. What is your name? So specify my name here. And then my age. And it's giving us my age and my name as well. And another thing about input is the input function by default returns a string value, which is not what you want if you're working with numeric values. For example, if we wanted to add two numbers together, let's say we have two online businesses. Let's clear the screen here and let's start off with a clean slate over here. So for online business profit 1, we are asking the user how much money did they make today. And then for profit 2, we are again asking the user how much money did they make today. And then we are doing some basic calculation here, profit 1 plus profit 2, which is stored in the variable of total underscore profit. And then we are printing total underscore profit to the console to see the result. So if we run the file, let's go with £60 or $60, and let's go with 40 for our online business too. And we can see, because it's treated it as a string, it's printed out 60, 40. So it's actually concatenated the numbers together rather than doing any arithmetic operations on them. So it's not calculated them using numeric values. We should have received the result of 100. So the way we fix this, we can specify int for integer before profit 1 and before profit 2 as well. But we would have to put the variables in parentheses as well. Now if we run the file again, how much money did you make today? 60, and again 40. And this time, because it's treated them as actual numeric integer values, now it's able to do proper arithmetic operations on them and add the numbers together. And as a tip, this is nothing to do with input and output, but to save on the lines of code we're writing, we can also write all of this in another way where you can use the integer by nesting them on the first two lines. So what we can do instead is remove the integer from here and paste it here. Put this into parentheses. And we can do the same over here as well. And then with profit 1 and profit 2, we can remove them from here and use them as arguments in our print function instead. Change that to profit 2. And now we can remove the third line here. We don't need it anymore. And we can run the file again just to make sure it runs. 60, 40, and we get the result of 100. Now it's good to do this where it makes sense, so we are not using total profit in our program ever again. So rather than declaring a variable called total profit, which we are never going to use again, and then doing an equals profit 1 plus profit 2, we can just remove the line altogether if we are never going to use it again, and then directly print it all out into the print function instead. And that's it for this video. That's a couple of examples of how you would use the input function to gather input from the user to produce an output.